All right, let's talk about something that could totally change the way you study. If you've ever felt like you're putting in the hours but not seeing the results, you are in the right place. We're going to break down something called metacognition, and honestly, it might just be the secret weapon you've been looking for.
You know the drill, right? You've spent hours staring at the textbook. You've read it, you've reread it, you've highlighted everything that looks important. You feel like you've done your part. And then you get to the test. You see that problem, and your mind just goes blank. That rock-solid understanding you thought you had, it's just gone. It's one of the most frustrating feelings ever, isn't it? Well, there's actually a name for that feeling. It's called the knowing delusion. See, our brains are kind of tricky. They mistake the feeling of familiarity with a topic for actual mastery. Just because something looks familiar and is easy to read doesn't mean you could actually use that information. This is a classic trap. And trust me, so many students fall right into it. But the good news is, once you see the trap, you can learn how to step around it. And this slide right here, this says it all. The big difference between top students and average students often isn't about raw intelligence or even effort. It's about strategy. Without metacognition, you're just kind of studying everything, hoping some of it sticks. But with it, you become a detective. You hunt down your weak spots, you focus on them, and you build real confidence, not that false kind. So how do we do this? How do we get this learning superpower? Well, it all starts with a really simple idea. You have to start thinking about how you think. And that's it. In a nutshell, metacognition is just the skill of stepping back and looking at your own learning process. It's like you're becoming the coach for your own brain, calling the plays, seeing what's working, and making adjustments to win the game. And it really boils down to two key parts. First, there's the knowledge piece. This is just being honest with yourself about what you don't know, and which study methods actually work for you. And then second, there's the regulation part. This is where you're the coach, You're actively planning, you're monitoring how it's going, and you're changing up the plan when it's not working. Okay, so let's get into the practical stuff. How do you actually do this? The very first and most important step is to figure out where those gaps in your knowledge really are. You've probably heard some version of this famous saying before. True understanding isn't about just recognizing a concept on a page. It's about being able to explain it simply, in your own words, like you're teaching it to someone else. And here's a super simple way to put that into practice. We'll call it the explanation test. Just try to teach a concept out loud to anyone. A friend, your dog, an empty chair, seriously, it doesn't matter. The moment you stumble or get fuzzy on the details, boom, you've just found a learning gap. That's gold. That's where you need to focus your attention. Now, finding gaps after you study is awesome. But the next level is to start monitoring your understanding while you're actually learning, in the moment. So think of your study sessions as this simple three-part loop. First, you plan. Okay, what do I want to accomplish in the next 30 minutes? Then, while you're working, you monitor. Wait, do I actually get this, or am I just reading words? And finally, you assess. On a scale of 1 to 10, how well do I really know this? And a fantastic way to do that assessment is with a simple color code. After you cover a topic, just label it. Red means I'm totally lost. Yellow is, I kind of get it. And green is I'm confident I could teach this. But you have to be brutally honest. The whole point isn't to get all greens. The point is to find the reds and yellows, because that's your treasure map for what to study next. And to help you monitor yourself, you need to have a few questions ready to go in your head. Questions like these force you to stop being a passive reader and become an active participant in your own learning. Asking yourself, is there a different way to think about this? Or what's the proof for my answer? That's how you build deep, lasting knowledge. So let's pull all these ideas together into a brand new, super effective study playbook that you can literally start using tonight. Here it is, your simple 3-step action plan. Number 1, always test yourself with the explanation test. Number 2, constantly monitor what you're doing by asking those deep questions. And number 3, rate your confidence with that red, yellow, green system so you know exactly where to put your energy. And the payoff for doing this is just huge. This isn't just about cramming to pass an exam. It's about building a real, deep understanding that sticks with you. And yeah, that leads to better grades for sure. But you know what else? It leads to a whole lot less stress. So, I'll leave you with a challenge. Using these new tools, what's the one thing you thought you knew pretty well that you're going to go test tonight? Go find that blind spot. You'll be glad you did.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.